I just wanted to do another video. Yeah, I'm just trying to get right what I've said a little bit because yeah. So this video is going to be about minority groups versus not versus minority groups and veganism and sort of how they fit together because I think I did a post online or something and people were getting the wrong end of it. I'm not trying to single anyone out, I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm not trying to label some people here, I'm just saying, generally speaking, in terms of minority groups and sort of veganism and stuff, I'm thinking people perhaps should see perhaps some certain groups should be able to understand the veganism a bit more than others, understand sort of what's happening. That's what I'm trying to say. So certain groups should be able to understand what's happening basically to animals. So say, in terms of LGBTQ or Black Lives Matter or any other anti-Jewish or whatever. Like I said, what I'm trying to say is, should these groups be able to understand what's happening to animals because they can understand the oppression? I'm not saying all of these people should be vegan. That was a bit of a misinterpretation with that. What I'm trying to say is, can you understand what's happening to the animals? They should be able to perhaps relate on to what's happening to the animals more than say someone who isn't, because surely not saying all black people or all LGBTQ people, but they should be able to understand the oppression that certain species of animals, because this is another thing, that the transatlantic slave trade was white people thinking they were better than black people, thinking they could own black people, and that was perfectly legal for 400 years. And just now what we're doing, with certain species of animals, i.e. certain species of animals like cows, like pigs, like chickens, similar to the transatlantic slave trade, we thinking they're better than certain other animals, they're better than the cats and dogs. So the cats and dogs almost become akin to the white people, whereas the pigs, cows, sheep and chickens become akin to the black person. That's the thing, it's a similar thing. We're kind of pointing the finger because of the species they were born into, because they're born into. We're saying that animal doesn't deserve the right to have bodily integrity, but that animal does because it was born a dog. That animal doesn't because it was born a pig. This is what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to single anyone out. I'm not trying to single. I'm not against anyone. All discrimination is wrong. All discrimination is wrong. I'm against all discrimination. But I just think that morally, people who are of LGBTQ, people who are Black Lives Matter, they should be able to understand if they're against oppression for people who have a certain gender, sex, race, or whatever. But then discrimination against certain species of animals sort of goes out the window, or not necessarily, but I'm not saying they should all be vegan, but I'm just saying they should be able to understand the oppression that certain species of animals are going through, and in turn have more compassion to the victims and have more compassion to the animals and be able to relate, because the principle is the same for me, whether it's veganism, LGBTQ, Black Lives Matter, or anti-Jewish, or whatever it is. It's the same. The principle is the same. Discrimination is discrimination. Discrimination against certain species of animals because of the body they were born into. Cats and dogs we love. We put selfies of them on Instagram, whatever. We take photos of them, we give them Christmas presents. But pigs are born into a factory farm setting, and they get into a gas chamber at 6 months old. Or chickens, at 40 days old, chicks in the wild will be nestling under their mother's wings. But at 40 days old, they're slaughtered. Basically, a chicken in an adult's body. So I'm just trying to say that discrimination that we're using for certain species of animals, surely I'm not saying they all should be vegan, but surely some of the LGBTQ and Black Lives Matter, these minority groups. This is what I'm trying to say. The word is minority groups. That's what Mum was telling me. It's not singling anyone out. The word is minority groups. I should say this more. Minority groups. Minority groups, I say it again, should be able to understand the oppression more than groups that aren't necessarily minority. So these small groups should be able to understand what certain species of animals are going through because of the speciesism that's happening. The speciesism of some animals being commodified, treated like products, treated like a service, viewed as nothing more than meat on the table or eggs and bacon or whatever, or something in a sandwich. And their life, they've got no bodily integrity, and then life doesn't really matter. We're just viewing it for our human supremacy eyes. Their life doesn't really matter. This is what I'm trying to do. This is what I'm trying to point out. I was not trying to single anyone out. All forms of discrimination are wrong. I'm personally, I'm straight. I'm straight. I'm not, I'm as straight as the lamppost. That's not nothing to do with anything. Like I said, I'm not part of these. I'm vegan. I'm vegan. So I'm part of that group. But I'm not part of anything else. I suppose I sort of agree with Black Lives Matter because I'm half Indian. But I don't know. I'm not really black. Apart from my hair's quite dark. But no, what I'm trying to say is, yeah, I'm not trying to single anyone. I'm just saying minority groups should be able to understand what animals are going through, just like what happened with the transatlantic slave trade. You know, they were viewing as those black people who were slaves, they were viewing them as inferior, and we're viewing these animals, certain animals, as inferior because they can't defend themselves, they can't think like us, they don't look like us. You know, we've using traditions just about over thousands of years. Oh, you know, sheep make good wool. You know, cows produce a lot of milk, so you know, so it's okay, so it's moral, so it's okay because it's happened for many years. Our ancestors did it. All these excuses come out. A lot of lions eat other animals. But once again, you know, I'm just trying to say that surely minority groups will be able to understand the oppression that animals are going through. They'll be able to show more compassion to the animals because of the oppression that LGBTQ happens and the oppression in Black Lives Matter, because those are minority groups. They should be able to show compassion to the animals that are suffering. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to single anyone out. I'm trying to say, it's an interesting topic. Even when I said to my mum the other day, she said, Elliot, you shouldn't be singling anyone out. But Elliot, you should be, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to put that forward now. That's what I'm trying to say. That's all I wanted to say. So, yeah. Should minority groups be able to understand the oppression that certain species of animals are going through and perhaps be more inclined to a vegan diet more than groups that aren't minorities? That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to single anyone out. At least I got that off. So, yeah, at least I got that off my chest. So, yeah, that's it.